Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗣𝗽𝗀𝘀 channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me is Shekhar Iyer and we're going to talk about the hot news of the day, the ongoing Canada-India saga. What is India's response thus far? Certainly, Minister of External Affairs Dr. 𝗒𝙤𝙤𝙀𝘀 has been talking at the UN General Assembly, has been giving interviews also. But beyond that, what is India's answer? To know all this and more, let's welcome Shekhar Iyer. And before all that, please like our video, like this video of ours, also like and share and subscribe to our channel. Namaskar. Sir, welcome to 𝗣𝗽𝗀𝘀 channel.
Namaskar. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So what is the government's plan to counter Canada, Shekhar Iyer? There is a lot of stuff that is now out. And also, there are other players jumping in, such as a rabid anti-Hindu, anti-India congresswoman from the United States. That's a story for a different day. What is India's response going to be?
Sir, it's more than a week since those allegations were made by the Canadian Prime Minister in their parliament. And since then, by way of hard evidence, has not been presented before any of us. So therefore, the government has been, if you look at the way the pronouncements have been coming from the External Affairs Minister himself, as well as from the other government sources, is look, as even Jaishankar put it in New York yesterday when he addressed the Foreign Relations Council, that, well, this is not our policy. We do not indulge in extrajudicial killing. As a policy, we don't do it. That's one. And number two, if there is anything specific, we are open to seeing what it is, what are the linkages, if any, and we will do an honest investigation. Apart from that, the government has assessed what is the kind of fallout from this kind of allegations, both on the external image of the country, as well as in terms of domestic politics in Canada, and the kind of political perception in India. Now, these three things have been assessed at the very top level. And their conclusion is, let's look at the domestic situation in India. Sir, even the Congress party is very hesitant to make any noises in this, just because the Indian government is now in some kind of scrutiny or some kind of I wouldn't even want to call it in the dock. So therefore, you are saying that whatever it takes must be done to put out terrorism. This is the official line of the Congress. And yesterday, the leader of the opposition, that is the Congress leader in Parliament, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, said, whatever is happening in Canada in terms of, chappal beating of the portrait of Prime Minister, then demonstrations where all kinds of anti-India slogans are being raised, and we condemn that. And also the fact that, sir, these groups that are active in Canada had once, not long ago, they had paraded, rather they glorified the assassination of Indira Gandhi for Operation Blue Star. That has also made Congress to keep silent on this. The sense they don't want to talk about it. As far as the left parties are, of course, the left-leaning so-called intellectuals and media personalities are trying to question whether, if it is true, then what it is. This is going to be big damage for Prime Minister Modi and things like that. Now, in terms of external perception, what the government is doing is engaging individual countries. Indian diplomats have been told to meet as many people as possible in all the Western capitals, their parliamentarian, their congressmen, and to explain that this is not our policy. And we are open to. And the third aspect, sir, which is India is watching very closely, what is happening in the Canadian politics. Because already stories, yesterday Indian media was full of reports about how in the very county where this assassination took place, in Surrey, how the police has not yet questioned other witnesses. They have not even done any proper investigation at the place of occurrence of this crime. And also there have been delay over jurisdiction. So therefore, the police was slow to move into the scene. So they couldn't have collected the necessary forensic evidence that was needed. And also how there are differences between the Surrey police and even the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And then there is a whole rejig on about the 1985 Air India bombing that took place on a flight, how 329 people were killed, and subsequently the way Canada handled the suspects and how they were taken into custody, and then subsequently the delay in the trial, and how admission by former Secret Service agents of the Canadian police itself, how they had destroyed some of the tapes involving these hardcore Sikh militants because they didn't want the informants to be disclosed, and how Canada has often soft pedaled this issue, right from beginning, not today or yesterday, for a long time. All these things are being also uh, told by Indian officials to other countries. Look, this is the track record of Canada. And many people are trying to those who are critical of Modi government, and they are trying to, suggest that just because Ajit Doval is national security advisor and he has had uh, a innings in the intelligence bureau where special operations were a kind of his forte, and then there have been several operations. And also, people, of course, this is, if at all the figures are being pointed at, it is at the research and analysis wing, that is R&AW. Now, these are not the organizations about whom you have any open, documented evidence, just as you don't have on CIA. At least in CIA, documents get declassified after a period of time, and people get to know what happened 20 years ago or 10 years ago. But in this case, the government is also pointing out the double standards, involved by Canada itself. When Osama bin Laden was killed, or when others were targeted, either in Iran or in Iraq, how Canada has been a cheerleader for such operations by American intelligence. And so strangely, the reactions from China is also, China has no love lost either for India or for Canada. And at a time when there are allegations that Chinese are playing a big role in the Canadian politics with their resources. Now, at a time, even China is not talking on this case per se. Rather, they are talking about the double standard of America, of the United States. Rather saying, look, how, and also trying to tell India, look, that West can never be your trusted partner because of the colonial mindset and things like that. Trying to say, look, don't join them. I'm a better nuisance than they are. That kind of. so so at least you know about me. So this is where it is playing out here, sir. But in Punjab politics, I think it's very interesting. Yesterday we saw the SGPC, Sri Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee, come out with a statement saying, look, any killing is a serious matter. This particular killing is also quite serious. And if a person like a Canadian Prime Minister is telling his parliament that there is there is suspicion about role of Indian agents in this killing, then we must take it seriously, because SGPC has to address its own laity as well as the friends abroad. So you can see their statement. But at the same time, they are very careful because they do not want to be appearing to be defending these characters like Nijar. So therefore, and they have been also, the yesterday's SGPC statement, the Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee statement also mentioned, look, whatever is happening in Canada without, in terms of demands and protestations, a threat to Hindu Canadians, that we don't approve of that. And sir, of all people, the party that is most silent on this issue is Aam Aadmi Party. You have not heard a word on this. Arvind Kejriwal is absolutely silent. And at the moment, AAP leaders are, they are just back from the wedding of Raghav Chadha and Pariniti Chopra. So they are not talking about this because of the obvious fallout that can happen in Punjab. So the matter as it stands here, at the moment, it looks like the government of India doesn't see any adverse fallout in terms of its engagements with other Western countries, with the terms of strategic dialogue. And also, the question that is being asked by all analysts across platform is America, even assuming that maybe a section of the American establishment has got Canada to do this, is America willing to risk a big setback to the current strategic dialogue? Because they have invested a lot on India as some kind of a bulwark against China. Because, sir, for India, if the border problem gets solved out, then I don't think. If it all gets sorted out in a way there, then I think the whole things will get changed. The parameters will change. With that not being a possibility, and the fact that we have had history of problems with China, but definitely this is a come at a time, and we saw a lot of Canadian lawmakers, foreign affairs specialists, former diplomats, coming on Indian television, trying to trying to analyze this whole episode as a sort that has got out of proportion, and a lot of things should have been done in a diplomatic way, and it was certainly undiplomatic for the Canadian Prime Minister to go before Parliament and without a solid evidence. If the solid evidence had been placed, it would have been a different matter, but that has not happened. So as to that American statements that India must cooperate, these are more seen as or generalities rather than any attempt to pressurize. And after all, there is a standing invitation from India to President Biden to attend the January 26th Republic Day parade, and there is a possibility that other Quad leaders will also be invited, because they are even proposing the Quad meeting to take place soon after the Republic Day meeting. So the next 2-3 months will be crucial, but those are the months also the Prime Minister Modi will be facing domestic challenge, political challenge, in terms of the elections taking place in Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Telangana. And sir, in Madhya Pradesh, you are seeing that how BJP is now decided to ask some of its union ministers to contest the Madhya Pradesh election. The same model may be followed in Rajasthan to send a message that we are taking this battle very seriously, and that in a way to also pepper over differences among the state leaders. Sree Iyer ji.
Thank you so much, sir. And we just wanted to tell you that this thing just got more interesting. Ilhan Omar, the normally loud anti-Hindu, anti-India, anti-Hindu phobe, she has put out a statement or put out a tweet today saying that the allegations that Canadian citizen 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘆 was assassinated by the Indian government are deeply concerning. The US must fully support the Canadian investigation. We are also requesting a briefing on whether there are similar operations in the United States. Madam Ilhan Omar, we are also requesting a briefing on whether your case of marrying your own brother, so your own brother could get a green card by a sham marriage, would also be investigated. I heard that this case is a black and white case. It has been proven, and immigration fraud is for life. There is no date of expiry date in it, and that you and your brother should be heading back to Somalia. And this is not happening. And I wonder why FBI doesn't want to do anything about that. Next, can you go to the next slide, please? Sir, this is the Washington Post report. And the investigation report has been summarized by our good friend Ajit Pawar as follows. First police response was 20 minutes after the shooting, surprising given the area was heavily patrolled. In fact, Nitish son has said that 2 days before the assassination, the Canadian secret police came and talked to 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘆. So they had some inkling of something could be happening. I mean, if that was the case, then why did they not increase patrolling? And he was shot right outside the Gurudwara, of which he was the president. Amazingly, he became a president after coming back in 2015. In 2016, he is the president of the Gurudwara. Nobody seems to be asking these questions. If you want to become a president of a Gurudwara, you have to put down roots. Tens of years before you, because people need to know you. So how did he get appointed as the head of that Gurudwara? Nobody wants to answer that question. Next one. Fight immediately broke out on jurisdiction between Surrey police and RCMP. You mentioned this, sir. 4 months on, the police have still not visited local residents and shopkeepers to request interviews or security footage. I'm sure this is on now, because they really are getting their behind handed to them. 2 cars were involved, a white sedan and a silver sedan. The white sedan is a car like 4 doors, guys. For those who don't understand the American nomenclature, a sedan is a simple car with 4 doors. The white sedan had the killers who had a hooded Sikh getup and were chased by another Gurudwara leader. The white sedan. The Gurudwara Walas decided to chase two more Sikhs in a nearby park. Why? Nobody knows. They ran into a cul-de-sac where the silver sedan with three people inside was waiting. How the silver sedan managed to escape from a cul-de-sac, despite cul-de-sac is a close, it's only one way, okay? The thing ends and then you can only go in or out only in one way, in one road. How the silver sedan managed to escape from the cul-de-sac despite the Gurudwara pursuers remains unexplained. Then unknown people started shooting phone videos and uploading on social media even before police arrived. The police then argued for a few hours. The majority of businesses on the route the killers took hadn't been contacted by police even 4 months on. The police could not find the killers or cars in their databases. They asked the public for help a full 1-2 months later. One Gurudwara leader claims Nijar's mechanic told him he found a tracking device in the wheel of Nijar's car sometime before the incident. It could have been Canadian secret police, so they want to know where he is going, so that they can pass off, surveillance saying, okay, hey, this guy is headed your way, you take care of him. This happens too. Any security detail will have these kinds of things. I'm just saying, in short, the police botched it up. The intel has been botched up. Evidence has been botched up. But yeah, trust the intel, bro. It is solid. It's very, very sarcastic, guys. What Iyer has summarized, that there is really nothing. They have no data. They have no case. This is from Washington Post. Okay, this is not a Canadian newspaper. So if Washington Post probably spent some time going over there, sending their reporters and having done that. And remember, Washington Post is not India's friend. I just want you to remember all these tick, 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 tick. So what is really going on? There is also an ex-Indian ambassador, 𝗣𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗏, has said that the plane was full of cocaine and that Justin Trudeau was shot up with cocaine. He was high on cocaine, so he skipped the G20 president's dinner. That is a cul-de-sac. That's a cul-de-sac, yes. That's the example of a cul-de-sac. You go in and out only in one direction, guys. Okay, so all these things happening, Shekharji, so not a good time for Trudeau. On top of that, he had this other embarrassment of a Nazi being celebrated as a Canadian war hero. So, I mean, I think all of you have watched my video that I aired at 6 a.m. today. It has gone seriously viral. I've already seen about 100,000 hits. So you may have watched it. If you have not, go back and watch that one. It has more details on this. Shekharji, now let us go to the reason why ADMK has dumped BJP. But sir, before that, there was one other tweet I saw by my good friend Chandralekha, mother of Ajit Pawar. She has taken Kanimozhi on. She said, how dare you address the Prime Minister by ekvachan? I mean, like, how do you call that? Bina Maryada. How dare you address the Prime Minister like that? The post demands respect. So there is something that happened there. Perhaps you know what happened there. You can also fill in on that detail, sir. Over to you.
Sir, the first of all, I mean, my last word on this, the Canadian part before we move on to the Tamil Nadu story is, sir, if you apply the same standard to any investigation involving, say, the Delhi police, I mean, there would have been tons of bricks coming down. I mean, can you imagine an incident like this taking place in Delhi? Why? We can just recall what happened just before the Israeli embassy in Delhi. There was a blast, and then subsequently, both the Israeli agents as well as the Delhi police investigators got in, I mean, did a complete investigation, and they managed to track down the vehicle which had carried those explosives. And I mean, this is the way it is done. And I'm giving an example that if the Delhi police, or for that matter, Mumbai police or any police, had failed to do what is called the preliminary groundwork, the ABCD of investigation. I mean, first you protect the scene of the crime, then you talk to, I mean, look for eyewitnesses. These are very ABCD kind of things. And if these have not been done in Canada, and also the fact that the Canadian police track record, as far as the Khalistan supporters, it's Khalistan extremists. It's more than 2 decades old. I mean, you have form officers saying, yes, we had evidence, but we didn't want to get into it. Because essentially, I think where the Canadian authorities look at, so long as those guys don't create problems for others. I mean, some people are even saying it means others in the sense other white Canadians, then it's not a problem. Because now they are openly targeting Hindu Canadians. So this is the way it is, and I think in the days to come, you're going to more hear about the all these fault lines, coming out, rather than any kind of a solid evidence to show that Indian agents were involved in this kind of thing. Of course, some people are trying to say that there's too much of a coincidence that so many of them getting bumped off. But the fact is that these are gangs. These gangs are operating, not just a Khalistan issue is only a facade. Rather, their main thing is gun running, narcotics, and also Hawala transactions and things like that. I mean, where there's a huge money. Sir, we have always seen the Khalistan movement has been funded, has been used as a facade, has been a fig leaf for people actually involved in this. And that's the reason why today in Punjab, which suffered or rather bore the brunt of the militancy, today there is not much support for this. Rather, the today's Punjab problems are different. But during the farmers' agitation, the so-called leaders heading it, they allowed these elements to infiltrate their ranks, and also in the subsequent assembly elections, and the beneficiary of which were all the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab. But even Aam Aadmi Party realizes that if they were to say anything on this, it will have repercussion on its electoral prospects in other parts of country, even particularly Delhi too. So that's where it is. Sir, now coming to Tamil Nadu, whatever that happened has, of course, definitely taken BJP by surprise. They did actually think that the BJP, the Arit India Anda Dravida Munatra Kazhagam would actually, call it off after only 2 weeks more. They had said, okay, we'll do some nitty-gritty of talks. But then I think the pressure was building up. The consideration now, it's very clear, sir. Annamalai is only, I would say, an excuse, because the problem between Annamalai has been and Edappadi Palaniswamy has been there for some time. Despite that, Edappadi went and attended that NDA meet where all the leaders were. That was on July 18th. Now, so you can see that but the reason they have done is the way the BJP is assessing the central leadership is, one, probably it has happened for good. Yes, there is a short-term setback for the BJP that they are aware of it. In the long term, that long term could stretch even up to say 5 or 6 years or even a decade. But that's worth that kind of investment. The weight is a kind of an investment, because they are largely looking at a scenario where that BJP should emerge as actually an alternative. Of course, there are thousands of analysts in Tamil Nadu who would say that this is a pipe dream, it will never happen, BJP will never find its roots in Tamil Nadu, and things on so on and so forth. But sir, the most worried party in this is Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. The first reactions came from Udayanithi Stalin himself, saying that this is a whole fake call-off. This is not true. That ADMK is just calling it off for the sake of Lok Sabha elections. And who knows, when the elections actually take place, they may again have some kind of an understanding or friendly contest. So there is a fear in DMK that the decision of ADMK to move away from BJP is some kind of a calculated strategy. And now the attention focuses on the 12% minority votes, both Christian votes and Muslim votes. Now, what happens? In the with ADMK plus BJP was a problem for ADMK because, and in their internal assessment, they felt that they did badly in 2021 as well as in 2019 Lok Sabha elections because of the association with BJP. So that impression has already been there. Notwithstanding the fact that BJP central leadership had helped in several ways, ways which we cannot detail in this particular episode, as to whether they're getting the two election symbol or also ensuring that
two leaves,
two leaf symbol, and then helping Edappadi actually gain control of the organization. And there have been other kind of support, overt and covert support, that the BJP gave to EPS has helped him consolidate. Now, there are no hard feelings as far as I can see in the central leadership. Now, we are also told that the Prime Minister Modi himself and Home Minister Amit Shah were not very happy that when the Sanatan Dharma episode happened, when Udayanidhi was caught abusing Sanatan Dharma, the EPS kept silent. Rather, they didn't want to get into the Sanatan issue, saying that, look, this is not a big issue in Tamil Nadu. But BJP wanted ADMK to speak out, like the way Jayalalitha would have spoken out, which EPS did not. And subsequently also, on Senthil Balaji also, after the initial comments by ADMK leaders, there was some kind of a stony silence when the lot of focus was on Senthil Balaji. Is it because he was one of their former colleagues, or whatever reason? Now, these are the things that was always making BJP wonder why ADMK is not forceful enough. Now, here is the scenario, sir. And even if the best of alliance, if the alliance had continued also, let's say between BJP and AIADMK, the BJP was looking forward to contesting maybe 4 seats or so, or at best of them would have won 2, or maybe none in that scenario also. Now, the present scenario is such where everybody is willing to bet that BJP would score 0 and the spoils would be shared between ADMK and DMK. Sir, but people have been suggesting, you have also had several hangouts on this issue, where that this could be a moment where the dynamics within the DMK alliances could also change, because there are allies who are unhappy with the seat sharing arrangements. They could leave. Of course, among the suspects, yesterday we saw 𝗤𝙘 𝗫𝘀𝘆 leader, Tirumavalavan, saying, look, any case, the ADMK may have broken, rather snapped ties with BJP. But in terms of policies, they have been backing the saffron policies. So therefore, one does not see there will be a realignment. But then I don't take Tirumavalavan's word for what he says, because between now and the Lok Sabha elections, you do not know. There are other parties. There are parties which are currently in the alliance who would also look for, and among them is Congress itself, because many Tamil Nadu Congress leaders have been saying, even during the last assembly elections, that it would have been good if we had gone with the ADMK rather than with DMK. Now, those leaders are again getting active, and they are trying to say that, look, we must keep our options open. Like Nitish Kumar have a window as well as a door. If they don't get a good
and a ventilator.
and a ventilator. So this it is opening up possibilities. Because it is opening up possibilities, it is also bringing a bigger challenge to EPS. Now, having taken this step, with at least 18 leaders under the scanner of the central agencies like ED for their acts of commission and omission during their when the sun was shining on them. So you can see that this EPS has to ensure that by breaking alliance with BJP has actually improved the electoral prospects of ADMK. In case he fails again in Lok Sabha elections, then I think his whole leadership will call into question, and whatever gains he has made in terms of consolidating himself in the party, that could be in trouble.
Sir, these people are totally dependent on BJP to get to wherever they got. So this guy has done a classic stab in the back, EPS. So my 2 cents for our viewers, and Shekhar-ji, please, you know this thing from much closer quarters than I do. Number one is that it is believed Amit Shah basically told EPS that in the alliance, you guys have to make sure that the ADMK voters will vote for BJP. So what he had told them is, in the past elections, the vote transfer has not taken place. They didn't like this. I mean, this is something like, ADMK is giving itself some airs. Second thing, the most important thing, at the end of the day, you need money to run elections, contest elections. SP Velumani and Thangamani, these are the 2 big shots in Kongu Nadu who are considered to be the money bags of EPS. I know for a fact SP Velumani has been very, very keen on being identified with BJP. Sir, if these 2, Thangamani and Velumani, if they make an exit on the promise that one of them will get a ministerial berth at the center. I'm giving you all the initial conditions. And if they do leave, then, sir, EPS's campaign will just collapse. My 2 cents.
Well, Sree Iyer ji, BJP is like an elephant. Very strong memories and very unforgiving. So I do not know at what time there would be the retribution. And as they used to say, even in the case of Shiv Sena, sir, there are 2 instances I want to point out. Shiv Sena dumping BJP after the 29 Maharashtra Assembly election, and Naveen Patnaik leaving BJP before the 2009 Lok Sabha elections. Now, if you look at these 2 situations, so long as you leave before the elections, I think that is lesser serious offense as far as BJP is concerned. But if you leave after an assembly election, that's the most serious offense. And the retribution is very hard. That is why you saw whatever happened in Maharashtra, particularly to Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena. Because the BJP's grouse was, if you were not willing to accept our thing, you should have left us before. You contested an election with Prime Minister Modi on your poster. You had him campaign for your elections. Then you used the ploy of the post of chief ministership or a rotation of chief minister's post as a ruse to get out and then combine with your most unlikely of your allies, and then you tried to keep BJP out. Now that was unpardonable, and that's why we are seeing what has happened to Maharashtra politics. Now, as far as Tamil Nadu politics, sir, all what you said is very much in the realm of distinct possibility. I do not want to talk about individuals, but the ADMK vote cannot be different from the BJP vote in Tamil Nadu. It can be plus BJP vote plus, but the core supporters of BJP and the supporters of ADMK, now just because their assessment is in the southern districts, they didn't get those minorities votes. That is why they have suffered, and therefore they should dump BJP. Now, they are also pointing out in their internal meetings in ADMK, look, Jayalalitha also never allied with BJP. This for this very reason. And that's why she used to always say, never, we would never have an alliance. We could have an understanding later after elections, but not. But sir, minority votes in Tamil Nadu are at the moment committed to DMK. I mean, I don't see them overnight leaving and shifting to ADMK because, but the anti-incumbency issues that the DMK is facing, more so in southern districts where these votes matter. Well, it will depend on the individual ADMK leader who will be contesting the elections. Whether he can, swing on the basis of saying, look, our party has now distanced from BJP. But sir, Tamil Nadu, one can never rule out a situation where if you are going to isolate BJP and the kind of traction that slowly Annamalai is building up as the real alternative to Dravidian politics, whenever you are quoting 12% vote, let us not forget there are other 88% votes. That's why the BJP leaders would say, look, if you are talking of 15% at all India level, that is the vote that is important. That the tail will wag the dog. Then in that case, we are not going to let the 85% go waste like that. So in the days to come, in the months to come, for a long-term prospect, yes, at the moment BJP will be plowing a lonely furrow. But in the months to come, I think BJP is looking at a scenario. Doesn't matter. We will go for the long haul, because that's where. Because in any case, they did their estimation from Tamil Nadu was, of course, they were looking at 120 seats from that are at stake in Tamil Nadu. I mean, the entire South, that they should get a good number to make up for losses in the North. But things are changing, sir. Our viewers would know that now we are getting closer to the opening of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. The dates are now clear. It's going to be somewhere around January 22nd, because the window that has been kept for Prana Pratishtha and inauguration of the Ram Temple is between 20th and 24th. That has now been confirmed by Nirpendra Mishra also, who is heading the temple organization. And the most probably Prime Minister will be traveling on 21st and 22nd, because after that Prime Minister gets busy after 24th with the Republic Day. If US President Biden accepts Modi's invitation, then he would get busy from, say, from the eve of Republic Day. So this is how the calendar is set. So the next few months, you are going to see a focus coming to Ram Temple also.
So here is our 𝗣𝗚𝗍 story on that. You can read the story for more details, 𝗣𝗚𝗍𝗆.com. Shekharji, back to our topic about BJP and ADMK/DMK. Sir, I was referring to one tweet by Chandralekha madam, who was in Janata Party, and now she's with Virat Hindustan Sangam. She had really roundly criticized Kanimozhi for choice of words in describing the Prime Minister. She says, okay, here is the thing. I'm going to read the Tamil. நீ என்ன பேசினாலும் புரியாது, எதுக்கு புரியாம பேசுற, உட்கார்ந்து கனிமொழி. Okay, let me read it. Okay. This is a retort back to Kanimozhi. What people are saying is, anyway, you said you don't understand Hindi, so what will you understand of what Modi has said? But looks like she has used some very harsh language to criticize the Prime Minister, and that's what Chandralekha ji has said. Shame on you, Kanimozhi. Are you really Kalaignar Karunanidhi's daughter? How could you descend to such lower levels addressing PM in singular?
Now, this is, I think, when she was participating in the debate on the women's bill.
No.
And she was being heckled, and she kept on saying that, the BJP leaders were talking to her Hindi, particularly referring to that controversy over Sanatan Dharma. So she said, why you are constantly speaking language I don't understand. And Tamil puriyade and things like that. I mean, Hindi puriyade and things like that.
I don't even understand. நீங்க என்ன பேசுறான்னு புரியாது. எனக்கு புரியாம பேசுற.
Okay. I got it. So she.
No, but this is not the Prime Minister. No, this is not to the Prime Minister, sir. This particular video you have shown, this is not in response to the Prime Minister's speech. This was the previous one when he was replying to the no confidence debate.
Oh, okay.
No, not to this last one. But her speaking is to the last, her participation in the no confidence, in the women's bill. But the video on the other hand was showing Prime Minister in his reply on the no confidence motion. But what I gather from people who witnessed this is, when she got up to speak on women's bill, the BJP leaders were, trying to ask her about the Sanatan Dharma thing. What is this? But sir, we all know for a fact that she has very good equations with Home Minister Amit Shah. She is not one of those leaders who is not so anti-Modi or so anti-Amit Shah, because they do exchange birthday pleasantries, and Amit Shah is always makes very warm inquiries about her welfare. And many a times there have been suggestions that is she the Ajit Pawar of DMK and things like that. So, of course.
Well, I want to tell Madam Kanimozhi something. Amma Kanimozhi, poi solradhukku oru alavu irukku. There is a limit to how much you can lie. This lady was caught on tape in Neera Radia tapes, where she says she was going to a mall to buy Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan's audio cassettes. This is highfalutin Urdu, for God's sake. Are you trying to tell me you just like the music and the tune? You don't buy music and tune. You don't buy a ghazal for that. You buy a ghazal to understand the lyrics. So who are you fooling, my dear? Anyway, at least intelligentsia will see through all these lies. But that is a politician, She probably also is feeling, oh my goodness, these people are trying to steal a march over me, because, Udaynidhi, Karunanidhi had 4 or 5 branches, right? All the other branches are withering away. Only one branch is becoming stronger. So one of these branches is Kanimozhi. She's probably trying to figure out, where do I make my mark? And they just stoop to any level. Anyway, good luck to you. So next, let's take a quick look at the friction between National Congress Party and the BJP. I still can't understand why the BJP had to go and make a deal with Ajit Pawar, sir. It doesn't make sense because they already had a good working majority with Shinde. Did they have a problem in that coalition, which is what caused this? That they thought Shinde might go back to Uddhav Thackeray. What is the deal, sir?
No, I don't think that was the reason. The reason was here was Ajit Pawar, constantly sending feelers that he's willing to break away and bring a lot of people and come before the Lok Sabha elections. And whole thing was the Maratha vote factor. Yes, Shinde also is a Maratha, Eknath Shinde. So therefore, by splitting Shiv Sena, also they had managed to get a lot of Maratha MLAs to their side. But at the same time, in terms of Maratha vote, the kind of monopoly that NCP has always had on this particular community, on this section, when Ajit Pawar was willing to come forward, so the BJP felt that this was an opportune moment to, fix Sharad Pawar for what he did in 2019. Negotiate, as I told you, sir, that as like an old elephant, they never forget. So they wanted to ensure that, look, Sharad Pawar has to be paid back for his acts in trying to, take Shiv Sena away. Now we got the Shiv Sena and we also got your nephew, as a retribution for what happened. And today, NCP has almost all the MLAs, I can say, are now with Ajit Pawar. Now, the problem for Ajit Pawar is, one, there is constant murmuring in his party that expansions have not taken place. More MLAs have to come on board. That is one. Number two, his own ambition as CM, because nothing is going to happen. BJP is not going to let down Eknath Shinde until the next Maharashtra Assembly elections. Now, before that, there is a lot of rumbling going on, and overall, this Maratha reservation issue has become a big thing. There was agitation, violence. Now, somehow Eknath Shinde, scored a point by going there, breaking that fast by the leader there who is spearheading this. And it was seen as Eknath Shinde's deft management, he tried to break the fast by these people. Though there were several suggestions that also were creating controversy, that let all Marathas be given that could be caste certificate, then, quota thing. But then those who are original Kumbhis, they said, then what happens to our quota? The quota is such a sensitive issue. There are no easy solutions. You have a Supreme Court which has laid down how you declare a community backward. There has to be a survey. You have to establish economic backwardness, social backwardness. So all these problems are there. But at the same time, NCP also realizes that a lot of its support base includes minorities. So when when the quota is the most talked about thing in Maharashtra politics today, so the whole idea is to see that that section doesn't dump this NCP completely because of association with BJP and goes completely with Congress or with that breakaway faction. So therefore, the utterances, at least there should be 4% quota or 5% quota, knowing very well BJP will never accept this religious quota. But then Maharashtra BJP leaders wonder, why is Ajit Pawar getting into this Muslim quota thing now, when quota itself is a issue, and certainly no forward movement is going to happen in quota for anybody at the moment. So that's where it stands. But these irritations persist. Of course, there was a lot of talk that BJP would, but Eknath Shinde would be dumped, but that is not happening. In fact, Eknath Shinde has gained some ground after the way he handled this Maratha quota agitation. So,
very good, sir. Now let's take a few questions, and there are questions galore, as a matter of fact. Pawan Kishore wants to know, Namaskaram, sir. With ADMK out of NDA and CPI, CPM rift in INDI Alliance, do you see these parties forming a third front alliance with Shiromani Akali Dal, Biju Janata Dal, Bahujan Samaj Party, YSR Congress, Yuva Shrama Raitu Congress Party, and Telugu Desam Party, and Bharat something Rajya Samati or Rashtra Samati?
well, Pawan Kishore ji, at the moment, all these parties, they are already like Akali Dal is neither here nor there situation. Biju Janata Dal, your YRCP Congress, they are with the BJP in the sense post elections, and even before elections, rather. They may not formally enter NDA because they have to fight these parties, BJP in their own state. It is going to remain like that. I don't actually see any realignment apart from rather the existing alliances. We are seeing ADMK leaving NDA, and in India Alliance, it's very clear now that left is not going to be as active as before because the pressure from the Kerala unit as such that it has been made very clear that in Bengal they will not be able to work out any compromise and they would rather stand alone. And so one can see that the so-called first meeting of the steering committee, which did not have participation from Trinamool or from left, so that problem is there. So probably the next big realignment you could see after the assembly elections in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, sir, depending on how Congress performs or depending on how BJP performs. Now, I don't see any addition to NDA after this, but definitely there would be a rethinking among the allies who are in the NDA Alliance regarding the position of the Congress. If the Congress were to do well, then Congress would take full control of India Alliance. But then they would not have the support of Trinamool or a party, I mean the left combination. So that's where it stands. Now, Samajwadi Party is also very clear that they are not in great mood to have an alliance with the Congress, though maybe some few seats like Rai Bareli and Amethi because of the friendship between Akhilesh Yadav and Rahul Gandhi or whatever for the old time's sake, they may give up allow those seats to be fought by the Congress. But other than that, Samajwadi Party is not at all in any mood. Similarly, Bahujan Samaj Party also, she is not going to align with anybody because her permanent grouse with all parties who have aligned with her before is that they manage to get BSP votes, but they don't transfer any vote to BSP. This is her permanent grouse because the nature of her electorate, the nature of the electorate of those parties, the vote transfer doesn't occur. For Mayawati, any alliance has never been beneficial. This is our analysis.
Well, we'll wait and see. It's just collapsing like a ton of bricks. Subramaniam Viswanathan wants to know, Shekharji, whether ED will, that's a WHETHER, whether ED will touch the first family and book them. It is well known that liquor, sand, real estate are parallel economy. The first family means DMK first family.
Well, the way the investigations are going on in Tamil Nadu and the raids are taking place, some raids involve even some junior functionaries of the BJP, sir, some junior accountant. This is in connection with the raids involving some groups in Pondicherry, in Puducherry. So one can see that the investigations are in progress, and definitely one should not be surprised if finally it's end up at the door of the so-called first family, because there are a lot of evidence being gathered, and you can see even action on Senthil Balaji took a time, but eventually it happened. So it looks like ED may have a lot of work now that the ADMK also is willing to take that risk.
Yes. I mean, these are all birds of the same feather, sir. They need to be probed too. Anshuman Singh wants to know, Sree sir, now that ADMK and BJP have parted ways, who benefits more and can there be a third front? Why not, Anshuman Singh? We have been talking about this. Do go back and look at Sriram Seshadri's videos with me, and there's a fair amount of detail. We stay with 6 or 7 constituencies, MP constituencies, where BJP will do well if they make the right partnerships and if they work really hard, and they need to implement the Panna Pramukh policy in these constituencies diligently, make sure that they get every one of their votes cast. If there is a lot of ifs I'm putting, but you can check all these things. You can check all these boxes. 6 seats are up for grabs. They can win all those 6 seats, but for that it requires a lot of work, and it also depends upon how well the rank and file of BJP, which is still kind of forming. See, Annamalai did a lot of house cleaning. You and I will not be privy to that. A lot of people were, it's within BJP, but they lean DMK or lean ADMK. All those people had to be taken out. And people who listen and act and work. That was what Annamalai was looking for. he doesn't suffer fools, by the way. I mean, he's very, very sharp. He'll tell you once, and if you don't do it right, you had it. Gives you an earful. Not many people in Tamil Nadu are, what shall I say? They have huge ego, even when they keep making mistakes. I shouldn't generalize this, but it's not easy when to get people to go along. Let me put it that way. Yeah, you have to. He has his work cut out. 𝗒𝙗 𝗤𝗂𝘁𝗍𝗏 wants to know, I hope I said that right, can there be a definitive end to the K movement? As of now, it looks like the West will kick the can down the road till Trudeau resigns and things will be back to square one. Your views, sir?
Well, sir, the Khalistan movement has been, in the sense that there is not much of a ground support in Punjab, I said before, because Punjab suffered heavily during those years of militancy. And nobody in Punjab would want return to those era. And also, today the borders are sealed and they are fenced. There is a greater awareness and alertness and surveillance. So I don't see a return. And in fact, there are no much sympathies left. But as far as Canada is concerned, it has now been becoming nurtured into a political constituency. And that's why the people have been, talking in the social media about why not create a Khalistan in Canada, because that is more possibility than here. Because so there is not much of a political support or a kind of a ground support here. That's one. And two, in Canada itself, it's a fringe group, and also a group that is into all kinds of criminal activities, which is trying to capture Gurdwara after Gurdwara. There is a lot of resentment among the other peace-loving members of that community. So one can see that. Now, this is the time for the Canadian authorities actually to realize that it's time they acted on these groups. Otherwise, they are going to be in a deep trouble, because nothing will happen in India, but definitely there, those who take to such crimes, they will turn on their own, on their own community members. That is something has been even the Punjab experience. Punjab experience started like this. Initially, whatever sympathy for the Khalistan movement among the local folks finally resulted in the local folks being targeted by these very militants.
Next one, please. Bharatam wants to know what will happen to CBN, sir, Chandrababu Naidu.
So he is not getting that quick relief that he expected from courts. So he had to move the Supreme Court also, because there was no relief coming from High Court. But there are also people who say that this may earn him some sympathy also. The fact that this is this particular case, because Chandrababu Naidu built a reputation as a person who is for reforms, who is far ahead of his times, who is for liberalization and things like that. And this particular thing is about skill training, where the corruption is alleged. But at the same time, the TDP politics is also a politics that involves a lot of resource management. So he is caught in that situation. But at the same time, people are seeing what will be the final outcome. If he gets relief from the courts, which he may eventually, and after that, then how does he take his politics forward? He has had difficulty in actually directly combating with Jagan Mohan Reddy, who continues to have a good grip in his state, but at the same time, there are anti-incumbency issues. Andhra Pradesh goes to elections along with the Lok Sabha. At the moment, the picture is not clear as to what is the position that the BJP would take. The central BJP, rather, they are not at the moment looking at Andhra Pradesh so seriously, because all their attention is now on Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh.
Next question, please. Srinivas Jayaprakash wants to know, Namaste, sir. I saw Cine actors celebrate the women's reservation bill in the parliament last week. Will BJP take a cue out of TMC and field actresses in 2024 polls? More in the south.
Well, film stars do make their celebrity status is always improves the political quotient of parties if they join the party and they contest elections. But BJP also has had not very good experience with film stars. Some of the stars, after they got elected, they failed to give time. They failed to even nurture their constituencies. Of course, there are exceptions. But we know, sir, BJP's experience with Dharmendra He never used to visit his constituency of Bikaner. Now, Sunny Deol, he is also not spending much time in there because he's too busy with his films. So, generally, I think the approach is that just because they are film stars, they bring some winnability quotient to the party. But in long term, in terms of long term, benefit for the party, nowadays the BJP wants active workers to become their candidates because the demand from the electorate is increasing. The electorate demands that whether it is Lok Sabha elections or assembly elections, that the representative who is contesting must be around. Even if he loses election, he can be considered for next time if he's around and does work. So that kind of demand being there, how many film stars are willing to actually sweat it out? I doubt it, sir. So I'm not very sure that BJP will go for a huge import from Bollywood or Collywood or Tollywood.
How is the performance of Hema Malini, sir?
Well, Hema Malini too, she has been, she's also not seen very, very active in Mathura, but the fact that she has already done 2 terms now, so I don't think she may contest again this time in 2024. But then she has some setup. She goes to Mathura frequently and she does. But then the general feeling is that with film stars, there is a problem. Hema Malini, of course, has been visiting her constituency now and then, but not as many as times as the electorate would want. You see, that is a problem. And if you are a celebrity, then even more. Despite that, when they see a film star, Hema Malini like star, moving in a constituency like Mathura in a Mercedes, you can see that, a Mercedes driven local representative and Mathura being Mathura, semi-urbanized and a lot of far-flung constituencies. But then some star quotient has helped her and she has done some work. I mean, in terms, I'm not saying that she didn't do any work, but today demands are much more, sir. The voter in any Lok Sabha constituency or assembly constituency, he expects his representative to be around. And BJP has succeeded in retaining some seats and winning some seats, not because they put a celebrity as a candidate, rather because they put somebody who has been a local worker, who is known to the people there, who has done some social service. This has become an important criteria in the distribution of ticket. And where such criteria has been applied, BJP has been able to do well in the elections.
Thank you, sir. Next question is Chandralekha wants to know, good morning. Rahul is accusing the judges who gave the verdict against him, linking that he raised questions against Adani. That's why he's targeted. Your thoughts on this matter?
Well, sir, Rahul Gandhi's utterances and his pronouncements has been giving shivers to their own party men. I mean, his attempt, say, sir, Adani recently, 2 days ago, rather a few days ago, I would say, there was a meeting between again Adani and Sharad Pawar. We are seeing it again. Now, I don't know, he has made it a personal mission, but that is not something shared by other parties, whether it is Mamata and others. That is one. And then his recent pronouncement as to, prospects of Congress party. This has also upset many Congress leaders. He said, we are going to do in Madhya Pradesh and in the Chhattisgarh, but in Rajasthan, we are giving a tough fight. So as to say that, look, sir, no matter what is the reality of situation, no politician ever says his party is having a tough time. But Rahul Gandhi, whether out of candidness or that is the style, has made some statement and which is making the local leaders ask, why should Rahul Gandhi say that we are facing a tough situation in Rajasthan?
Next question, please. Venkatraman Narayan wants to know, ask Shekhar Iyer. There is a rumor doing the rounds that Palturam Nitish is about to join the NDA Alliance once again. Will BJP accept him and is this the right move? Your views, please.
Sir, these speculations finally reached even Nitish Kumar's ears. So a day ago, he said, whatever it is, I am not joining NDA. I am not going back to NDA. He himself has said it. So, but then Prashant Kishore, who knows him well, says he keeps a window open, he keeps a door open, and you are adding a ventilator also. So, so we do not know. But he is not in too comfortable company. That is there.
AZ wants to know, how long will the Dot Alliance last? With so many bickering among them out in the open, who will make them stick together?
Sir, one view is this alliance, whatever has to happen by way of those joint meetings, that era is over now. Because the steering committee also, if it were to be held, the absentees would be noted than those who are present. And that will have its own dynamics. Now, I don't see any actual seat sharing talks taking place before these round of assembly elections. And the party will also be busy, and I don't see anything happening. Even, sir, on women's reservation bill, the opposition strategy has been more of a defensive thing instead of going and claiming full credit and able to do something. Even in the debate, the more it was about OBC factor, why not reservation for OBCs, things like that. So it is not a very great scene for the opposition alliance at the moment.
Next question, please. Chirant wants to know, Shekharji, in your opinion, how many seats might BJP win in Rajasthan MP? Is the gamble of fielding big guns in MP proved to be costly or counterproductive to BJP?
Well, BJP is aiming at least they should win 100 plus seats in Rajasthan. I mean, that's the kind of target. But then they know that the competition, whether Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh, it's tough. But Rajasthan looks little easier in the sense that Ashok Gehlot has had anti-incumbency issues. Though some people say that his delivery on some social welfare programs has been good. Probably that should help Congress a lot. But then bickerings, and of course at the moment there is a patch-up between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot. That patch-up, is it going down to the ranks? That's again open question. We do not know what will happen when actually the ticket distribution is taken up. On the other hand, BJP too faces a problem. So in fact, Amit Shah and Nadda are there. They will be probably jointly assessing the situation there. They have to give some role to Vasundhara. At the same time, they should not be antagonizing the groups who oppose to her. And the same model that we talked about in Madhya Pradesh, by deciding to ask some of the senior leaders, the rather union ministers, to contest election, the question that is being asked is BJP sending out a signal that they are looking for a name other than Shivraj Singh Chauhan after the assembly elections? It's possible. But if the BJP were to win the elections in Madhya Pradesh, I mean with a good majority, then I see a possibility Shivraj returning as CM, but it will be there only till the Lok Sabha elections. I see that kind of situation. But the fact that Narendra Singh Tomar has been fielded, has been asked to contest. He's from Bundelkhand region. Similarly, Prahlad Patel is also an OBC leader. Then you have Fagan Singh Kulashdeep, OBC leaders have been asked to contest. So these are senior leaders. It's also a message to, and of course, Kailash Vijayvargiya from Indore 1. So the strategy seems to be that where necessary, you want to give more seriousness to the battle, bringing the central leaders. At the same time, in Rajasthan too, yes, that model could be applied. Sir, even in the last elections, if you look at Madhya Pradesh elections of 2018, what we saw was because of the huge anti-incumbency at work, the Kamal Nath also, despite the anti-incumbency at work, Kamal Nath-led Congress failed to get complete majority on its own. So it had to depend on other parties, smaller parties. Now, BJP case, it got 104 something, and you had Kamal Nath gained, I think, 113 seats or so. So for the needed majority, now 5 years down the line, now what do we see? We see a situation where it is tough, very tough, but it is tough for both sides. It is not just tough for BJP. BJP, yes, the anti-incumbency is also because of Shivraj Singh Chauhan leadership, but then Shivraj Singh Chauhan is also an OBC leader. The party cannot simply dispense with him. And then in the anti-incumbency caused by the sitting ministers, sitting MLAs. So will there be a complete overall in the distribution of ticket? But at the moment, though a message, some people are reading a message that probably Shivraj may be sidelined, but that is not true because they have not announced the seats of other ministers, the local ministers.
Next question, please. Sundar N wants to know, did BJP stage the split from ADMK so that there is a split in minority votes?
Basically, will there be a split in ADMK further? We touched on this point earlier. I mean, these are, at the moment, I don't see BJP would be so much focused on Tamil Nadu at the moment.
Next question, please. Tyaksan wants to know, with the Dravidian parties abandoning BJP, South India seems to go out of hands of BJP in 2024. Similarly, with NIA raids in Punjab, BJP is likely to remain a non-starter in Punjab. Comments, please.
Well, Punjab is a different story. Well, Punjab's challenges are completely different. There, the challenge is the domination of Aam Aadmi Party, whether that domination continues, what is the position of the Congress, and what is the position of the BJP. That's the question in Punjab. Now, in Tamil Nadu, yes, ADMK departure is a bad news in the short run. Definitely, this is a difficult situation. In Karnataka, they lost elections. So, therefore, BJP has to do very well in the Lok Sabha elections. And Telangana, they were seen as the main challenger. Now it looks like that space has been largely occupied by the Congress. And in Andhra Pradesh, the scenario is confusing because BJP cannot make up its mind between to be with the opposition led by the TDP or to be play neutral or have some tactical understanding with Jagan. This is the confusing scenario as far as South is concerned. And Kerala, of course, it's a long haul. It has been such a long haul, and the demographic dividend is such that it doesn't suit BJP.
Yes. Next one, please. Stone wants to know, is BJP actually quietly supporting Jagan? Considering they say one India, how can they support mini Xi Jinping in Andhra?
It's not supporting, it is question of how much are they willing to oppose Jagan. And their own ambitions that eventually BJP should emerge. This is a problem that the BJP faces in Andhra Pradesh.
Yes, indeed. Last question, please. 𝗤𝙗𝙘𝘀𝘐 wants to know, is the West flexing muscles and forcing India to toe their line?
Well, it's not exactly the way it used to be earlier when, they used to use all these methods to some kind of apply pressure. I think now their strategic interest also requires that they keep their engagement with India in a more in a strategic way and more fruitful to their objectives. And sometimes when they see the power and the influence of China, even in their domestic politics, then it is important that they do not do things that will not be taken very lightly by a leadership in Delhi.
With that, we come to the end of today's program. Shekharji, thank you so much, sir. We went past our usual line of 1 hour, usual time of 1 hour, I should say. We are about 8 minutes more. But thank you once again, sir. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar. Thank you.